Hey everybody, September is Bourbon Heritage Month. So all month long, all my videos are going to be nothing but bourbon videos. I'm going to look at some that I haven't opened yet, I've had here for a little while, and a couple that I just recently bought that I've been looking for a while. So stay tuned, come back and see us every week for a different bourbon for Bourbon Heritage Month. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Speakeasy. Our first bourbon for Bourbon Heritage Month in the month of September is Old Forester Bourbon. Now, I've got three not full-size bottles here. This came in a gift pack. You might have seen that on one of my hunts I posted. This one's 1897, bottled in bond. 1910, Old Fire, can't read that. 1910, Old Fine Whiskey, and 1920, Prohibition Style. So looking forward to opening each one of these. This one's 100 proof. Of course, it's bottled in bond. This one's 93 proof, and this one's 115. Now, this pack was a lot cheaper than buying all three of them in 750 milliliter bottles individually, and no more, no faster than I'll drink them. This was perfect. Although I could have saved some money if I'd have bought the gift pack somewhere else. Check that out on the video. I'll post a link to it up here. But what is Old Forester? Old Forester Bourbon was created in 1870 by George Garvin Brown and was named after Dr. William Forester. This was the first bourbon sold in sealed bottles and has been on the market since 1870 for the last 154 years. That's longer than any other bourbon. They were given a permit to sell and manufacture their bourbon during Prohibition, so today Old Forester remains the only bourbon continually sold before, during, and after Prohibition by the same company. All right, so let's get started here. We're going to start off with Old Forester 1897, bottled in bond, bourbon. Now we'll let that air out a little bit. Now again, this is Old Forester 1897, bottled in bond, made by Old Forester Distillery. All of these are, and that is owned by the Brown-Forman Corporation. 100 proof, so 50% alcohol by volume. The site did not say anything about any appearance. I mean, this is very caramely, honey looking, dark honey, if you will. Now they say the aroma should be robust, intense caramel notes on the nose. I don't know, it just smells hot to me because this is, again, 100 proof, bottled in bond. Now this is 100 proof is really pretty much in the middle of my wheelhouse where I like them, 90 to about 110 tops. I do smell some caramel in there. Let that continue to air a little bit. Now it says on the tasting notes, you should have rich vanilla with roasted coffee, spiced dark fruit and mature oak, mouth-filling, sweet and intense. Okay. The more I let that get a little air to it, the less hot it is initially right on the nose. Robust, intense caramel on the nose. Okay. Again, we're looking for rich vanilla with roasted coffee, spiced dark fruit, and mature oak, mouth-filling, sweet and intense. Intense is a good word. Sweet, I get a little sweet at the end, not initially. Very hard for me to pull notes off of that one. I certainly initially don't have any vanilla or roasted coffee. Oaky, I would say mature oak. Okay, definitely oaky. Okay, finish notes. You should have deep fruit, spice, and oak notes layered over dark caramel and vanilla, big and bold. Well, I don't know that I have all that on the finish. I do have the spice. Couldn't tell you what kind of spice, any particular spice. Dark caramel, maybe vanilla. Just hard for me to pull any flavors off of that. This one won the Master Award at the 2019 American Whiskey Masters competition and the silver medal winner at the 2020 International Wine and Spirits competition. I mean, obviously those in the know really like this one, Old Forester, 1897, Prohibition style, I guess. Nope, that's this one. That's the name of that one, 1920. This is 1897, bottled in bond. Embraces the definition of the act introduced in 1897, the Bottled in Bond Act, which inspired higher quality standards for the spirits industry. To me, that one, it tastes hotter than 100 proof to me. I do now. I'm starting to get a little intense caramel on the smell. Maybe just a hint of coffee, not much. I think the more oxygen it gets to it, the more it opens up. Let's see if a little drop of water will do anything for it. Just that little bit of water to me made that much, much smoother in the mouth. Initial feel. Took a little bit of that heat away from it, just enough to make it a little more palatable for me. Made it a sweeter taste in the mouth as well. Yeah, to me that made it much better, which doesn't surprise me much. Like I said, I love to drink my whiskey on the rocks, so I always put a block of ice in a glass, pour me a shot of whiskey over the rocks, and let it set for a couple of minutes. Number one, chill the whiskey, the bourbon just a little bit. Number two, get a little bit of that initial ice melt, and that's the way that I like mine. All right, let's move on to Old Forester 1910. If I can get the cork back on it. Okay, so this is Old Forester 1910 Old Fine Whiskey. Okay, so this says in 1910, a fire on Whiskey Row led to Old Forester being rebarreled into heavily charred barrels. This double-barreled expression follows the same process as the original Old Fine Whiskey. So 1910, gold medal winner at the 2023 San Francisco Spirits Competition. Appearance doesn't say anything comparing these two. They are just almost identical in the bottle. However, in the glass, of course, I have added a touch of water to this one. This one looks a little bit darker than 1910 does. It says the aroma notes should be interlaced layers of buttercream, sticky toffee, cedar, and apricot. Wow. Now this one's 93 proof, and immediately on the nose, it is not as hot to me as this one. I don't think the little bit of amount of water I added to this dropped the proof down dramatically. But just on the nose, this one is much sweeter, much more caramel, probably some of that buttercream like it talks about. Smells good. Got a good flavor to it, not real hot. Let's see. The site says it should be smooth, well-rounded mingling of sweet oatmeal raisin cookie and milk chocolate leading into caramel corn and evolving spice. I will say I did get a little bit of that oatmeal raisin. I would never have been able to pick that out of the air. Milk chocolate, I don't have any milk chocolate. The caramel corn I can see, and there is a spice to it at the finish. Yeah, and it says the finish notes, charred oak leads with a clean peripheral spice. So yeah, I got a little spice on the finish, and it doesn't really linger a long time. I mean, I do have a little bit of flavor left in my mouth, but it goes away pretty quick. The spice kind of lingers longer than anything. I'm just really interested now to see what a little bit of water will do for that. Just a couple of drops in there. Really close to the same. That one was smoother overall than the 1897 bottled in bond. And this is probably closer. This is on the low end of my window, but probably closer to what I prefer. So right now, I'm going to give this one a better score than I would this one. So now we're going to go to 1920 Prohibition style. It says, during Prohibition, Old Forester was bottled as medicinal whiskey at 117 West Main Street under Kentucky permit number 3. The typical barrel proof at that time prior to bottling was 115. And this is 115 proof. Prohibition style. All right. Again, 115 proof. That one, just comparing colors, still about the same. All of them are pretty equal from what I can tell. Maybe it's just my lighting in here. Everything that sits here in the middle kind of looks darker in the glass. All right, the aroma, we're looking for an intense medley of cherry preserves, drippy caramel, dark chocolate, thickened maple syrup, and seasoned oak spiciness. My gosh, if that has all that, I've got a new sweet tooth ready to drink this whole bottle. That one is 115 proof, and it doesn't smell as hot as the bottled in bond 100 proof. Smells sweeter than the 1910. Probably some of that maple syrup, cherry preserves maybe. Does have a great smell. What am I looking for in the taste here? It says dark caramel coats layers of malt nuttiness and sweet graham cracker, all warmed by green peppercorn and coriander spice brightened with a hint of cedar. Now, I'm all about the dark caramel, the nuttiness, and the sweet graham cracker, but you get into, number one, I don't know what a green peppercorn is. I guess that just, it's not blackened yet to make pepper. Coriander and a hint of cedar. Okay. Now, I immediately get the additional proofage on it. I can tell by the drink that it is definitely hotter than this 93 proof. Now, to me, these two are heat-wise are about the same. 100 proof, 115. Kind of odd, but okay. Sweeter. I don't really have the malty flavor. I do get a lot of spice. I couldn't have told you that it was coriander. I'm not going to say that I get any hint of cedar as a taste because I don't eat cedar very often. Not at all, as a matter of fact. Sweet graham cracker. Maybe as part of the finish, but this says the finish should be tart apple crispness gives way to a long smoky finish full of toasted marshmallow, chocolate, and graham cracker sweetness. Okay, so maybe a little graham cracker at the end for me. Let's do a little water on this one as well. So just a little info while I let that water mingle there. Says the Volstead Act of 1920, which initiated prohibition in the USA, granted permits to 6 distillers in Kentucky. And as this one said, this was permit number 3. 6 distillers in Kentucky to continue to bottle bourbon for medicinal purposes. Through one of these permits, Old Forester continued to be produced as medicinal whiskey on Whiskey Row. During this time, all whiskeys had to be bottled at 100 proof. With a barrel entry proof of 100, the Angel's Share would have created a 115 proof whiskey after maturation. To pay homage to this era, Old Forester presents 1920 Prohibition-style bourbon at 115 proof to represent the rich flavor profile this bourbon had nearly 100 years ago. So with a little bit of water added, what do we have? Wow, I think that actually opened up the spices in there. That's interesting. I tasted a lot more spice to it the second drink than I did the first one. Interesting. Now, I have always noticed that a higher proof bourbon, to me, smells sweeter, but it doesn't always taste sweeter. Sometimes it does, but it's definitely hotter. In this one, that water, I think, kind of opened up the aromas and the flavors, and it definitely tastes a little spicier. And it's starting to smell a little bit spicier too. Now, that's my review of Old Forester Prohibition, let's see, Bottled and Bond, Old Forester 1920 Prohibition Style, and Old Forester 1910 Old Fine Whiskey. Now, I've heard there is a fourth that can be created here, and that is by combining these two. I don't know, I'm assuming it's 50-50 to make a 1915, because you have a 1910 and a 1920. So you put them together, you have a 1915. Let's see what that does. adding that to it took that initial heat, smell, spiciness away. It smells really, really good. I do smell a lot of caramel in that one. Wow. That's crazy how that, and I guess that's how blending works though. But to put these two together, I immediately get a much stronger vanilla taste. I get a lot sweeter flavor. I don't know if I don't know how that works. The two bringing out the sweet flavors in it. I mean, I can stick my nose down in that glass. It doesn't burn my nostrils or anything. Wow. I like that. I think I like the two combined better than I like either one of them alone, which is cool and interesting. Now I could drink this one as it is easily. These two gonna have to put on the rocks. Although, as I said, I drink all my whiskey on the rocks, but these two together, fantastic. I'll have to look around on the net. If you guys have any suggestions, mixtures for any other Old Forester bottles, let me know. Put those down in the comments. I'll see if I can't mix them up here and tell you what I think about them. But the 1915, I'm going to go all day for that one. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys stopping off at the Speakeasy. Be sure to like, subscribe, share with your friends and family. Come back and see us next time. See what we're going to cover on the Speakeasy. Remember, all the month of September, all bourbon, because it's Bourbon Heritage Month. Come back and see us.